Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We're zooming in and focusing in on a really interesting viewer question, and that is, how does a lack mentality keep us in a relationship with a narcissist? That's really a great observation, and I think we're going to expound a little bit on that. When we talk about a lack mentality, we're talking about a sense of inadequacy. We're talking about sort of an insecurity or something that is secret or hidden. And it's those hidden fears, secret judgments that keep you from experiencing life in a pleasant way. In other words, the more judgment that you harbor, the more pain you're going to experience. The more sense of inadequacy or, just sort of putting egotistical terms to things will keep you unhappy. Being in relationships where you've allowed someone to always do the work, and then you're docile and not doing any work, which is they're keeping you oppressed or disempowered. You're not allowed to participate. You're not allowed to collaborate. You're not allowed to go and find new relationships. These are going to keep the pain, and it's a lack mentality that's keeping you in those lower vibrations of depression, anxiety, guilt, apathy, shame. Those are really part of a lack mentality, meaning there isn't, enough out there or enough within me to handle this. And it will keep you impoverished, keep you unproductive, keep you sullen, keep you melancholy. And, what is the payoff to these emotions? Is it so that you'll get attention, so that someone will feel sorry for you? Is that what you really want? Are you getting in emotional trouble, and who is going to rescue you? So you have to look at those self-revealing moments and saying, am I looking, what do I really looking for to fill that need, that openness, that void? And how can I manage that and utilize that rather than feeling helpless over it? There is the self-fulfilling prophecy. If you keep in a lack mentality, then you're going to find situations come up that reinforce that. In other words, the universe is delivering you on your order pad. It's, if you're saying, I am inadequate, then you're going to find yourself in situations where you feel this way. I feel odd. I feel like the odd man out. Then you're going to put yourself in situations where you feel odd. So you have to look at that inner subconscious that's part of the programming, which is so powerful that you can tap into and hear and respond to, acknowledge and validate, and get a relationship with, that can take your life to completely different levels and of happiness. Not that you're living for an external egoic, but it's an intrinsic. It's a real shift of perspective, and it's much more pleasant when you do that. When you're in a sort of abundance mentality, when you're, this can work out. We have the resources, we have the money, we have the ideas, we have what it takes. When you're in that B state, your expectations then get met. And so, as I've spoken here before, on my channel, is that I grew up in a very affluent area, where there was prolific money, prolific mansions, swimming pools, dance floors, ballrooms, in their homes, DJ booth, dancing studios in the home, 5-car garages with all sorts of different types of cars, driving gloves, all this. And, people say, well, I wasn't around this. Well, that's not the point. The point here is to reveal to you that what you focus on will continue to proliferate in your life. And if you focus on the negative and have a lack mentality and allow yourself as a choice to stay in the depression, to stay in the apathy, to stay in the indecisiveness, to stay in the lack of interest, the lack of doing. Do you see how I call that negative orderly direction thinking? It literally takes you to a whole nother vista of perspective and outlook than when you manage into what I call positive, orderly direction thinking. Positive, orderly direction thinking, feeling, and behaving. And not feeling guilty, not feeling bad, not feeling that you have to save, others, is part of really, staying in a painful, toxic relationship or emerging out of. And it can take you to a whole different vista of life. Are you looking at the hole in the earth, or are you looking at the vista and looking at a magnificent spread of 5,000 miles of whatever it is that, is awesome for you? Do you love mountain ranges? Do you love churches? Do you love art stores? Do you love antiques? Do you love woodworking? Do you love music? And how can you develop this and come from a prosperity consciousness, an abundance consciousness, and it allow what you do to bring that forth and bring that out of you. But if you're staying stuck in a poverty consciousness deep within, get that disc out. Poverty consciousness is one where you feel that you're living by the law of the lid. I believe that was Maxwell Goodwell. Someone could correct me, but there's the law of the lid, where in other words, you will only go as high as your expectations. So if you find yourself stuck and not earning enough, or not having enough relationships, or over obligating, or just sort of being lost, that's your law of the lid. You've put yourself into too small a pond, too small a saucepan. You're trying to cook a meal from a butter melting pan. You can't create a big stew if you're using a very small pan. That's the law of the lid. You can't create a masterpiece in your life if you're pushing yourself down and repressing the pain. You have to lift the lid off and let it simmer. A lot of people are very scared. I'm going to lose steam. I'm going to lose energy. I'm going to lose momentum. It's going to die out on me. There's all this catastrophizing that the mind tends to do. And especially people who are narcissistic tend to do that and sort of create this fear in others. Do you see how it is a created space? And if you can hold, and realize what is it that you really want. So you have to take a moment to give life its order sheet, write it down. What kind of people do you want to be around? Happy, smiling, intelligent, or do you want them to be brash, rude, pushy, arrogant, cruel, rude to others? And you'll find these pockets of people because birds of a feather flock together. And, it's important that you are able to develop that and go to where you want to be, and then don't feel that you have to egoically explain and justify yourself. Allow yourself to be, just like we're talking in the earlier video about having that light infuse your body, creating these moments where you're just soaking it in. Allow yourself to receive and fill up that reservoir, fill up that well, fill up that void, fill up that abyss. It will fill up and you will not feel so empty, but you have to go and strategically place yourself in those situations where you can absorb it to help balance out your aura and your perspective. In an abundant mind state, oftentimes people feel guilty for succeeding, and that they did not take care of someone else, particularly a narcissist, a psychopath, that you didn't prove something to them. Leave, if you can, it's very difficult, but leave them out of the equation. Leave them out of the equation. Leave them out of the recipe. Leave them out of the mix. Leave them out of the paint jar. Leave them out of the refrigerator. Leave them out of the stuff. See how once you do that, you'll pick up liberation energy, which is going to direct you, and it's going to allow the good stuff to come in, and you won't have to live in a poverty mindset. If you have found yourself, in terrible situations, that can change. You need to focus then on the restorative that gets you creating, that gets you producing, that gets you meeting, that gets you discussing. go wherever it is, take a chance and meet a new small group, just experiment. And I think that to make that shift, if you can do it in little steps, in other words, this doesn't have to be all written in stone. This, I don't have to commit to this, but I can at least enjoy, and then I will recommit as I go along. In other words, recalibrating and reconditioning as you go, and maintenance is super important. And that's why I want you to bring along your flashcards, your recovery journal if you need it, or your affirmations. Looking at your affirmations several times a day. I am strong and I am vibrant. I am strong and I am vibrant. I am strong and I am vibrant. And you need to feed that to yourself. And even if you, go to the mirror, I am strong and I am vibrant. Giving yourself these new commands. And then they work. And then people say, but this is too good to be true. And then they then go back to the poverty mindset where it's like they're falling backwards. Don't go to Wimp Junction. If Wimp Junction, presents itself, I'm not going there. I am strong and I am vibrant. You need to have a go-to Astral Nation. When I say Astral Nation, I'm saying because you're speaking it with your being. You're not just speaking it with your voice. It's not a cerebral, I am strong and I am vibrant. It is a B state. It is, sort of a higher altered state of consciousness. And you really need to alter your state of consciousness, have a mind-altering affirmation for you to get there. Meaning you're feeling something. You're feeling something new. You're going someplace different, within. You're excited, but you're not, rip-roaring crazy like you're in a fire drill. Or you might be doing your everyday thing, but you're doing it with flow and grace and finesse. You're improving how you flow, every direction. I'll pick up this, I'll pick up that. I am affluent, I'm strong. I am strong. I am unbeatable. I am affluent. I feel affluence. I feel affluence. Even if you're sitting in, your workout clothes and you're on the treadmill, you can still feel affluent. And once you do that, you'll, not that you feel arrogant, but you feel a sense of vitality. And not vitality that is based on judgment or based on superiority. You just feel vibrancy. That is the life chi energy, which is part of, what Napoleon Hill might call your sex energy, your creative energy, your grounding energy, and it's going to come up and it's going to, be like butterflies in your stomach. Allow, that butterfly to work within you and know it's having long-reaching effects. And with that, you can't be in a poverty, eliminate the poverty mindset. It is not working for you. You don't have to be all that stuff that is, money can't buy you happiness. Money is dirty. Money is the root of evil. All these different things will influence your relationships and then keep you in a codependent or submissive, docile state. And, you're not then utilizing these strengths and tapping in which is within you. And so it keeps the law of the lid. Shut it down. Shut it down. Keep the lid open. Get a bigger, find a bigger space within you. The law of the lid. Open it up. You thought it could only hold 8 ounces. What about a 5-gallon drum? Where would you rather have the energy? Create that inner space. It can be very magnanimous and very strong and very loving and not aggressive. It is powerful. You literally have the power, and allow yourself to experience it and know that you are not taking it away from anybody else. You are not wasting energy by feeling good. You're not taking it from the divine and hoarding it or whatever. Realize it's self-renewing, and that as you live in prosperity, you allow others to live in prosperity. You be bold with your life so that others can be bold with their life. It's a flip of energy. And I love miracle stories of reading people who, were homeless, or they did this and this, and then they established a jewelry line, or they established some new product. I mean, we look at this on the Shark Tank, and it's very cool. I have developed products myself, but directly with corporations, and they came out to be released on the marketplace. Really super successful. That came from a B state, and that came, from lack, and not just, but that flow. And I am an idea person. So that is sort of very untangible, and I've been like a ghostwriter for different companies and done their advertising, and that's what they call it, where you don't really get credit, right? And so, but be careful that you then, look at that programming of altruism and where you truly are authentic and you truly believe in, and begin to invest in yourself and others. Begin to make new investments with where you put your energy, your time, your money. Even if you have $1 and you're used to buying, junk, take that $1 and put it aside, and find something that's going to increase the quality of your life, so that you can live in that abundant attitude, and then become aware of what makes you feel abundant. It's very interesting. I'll go through the city and I'll see people on a bike that they rent, and they'll be buying flowers for themselves. They'll be buying beautiful breads. They'll be buying beautiful cookware. Little things that make you feel the joy that you stop yourself from because it seems too frivolous. What is too frivolous that you have, not done that you can do for yourself today? Maybe you've got like a gorgeous piece of meat in the refrigerator. Maybe you've got a gorgeous piece of fish. Maybe you've got, a special soup that you wanted to make. What helps you to feel sort of that indulgence and abundant and affluent, and that abundant mindset, and live in that today. Allow yourself, no matter how hard you're struggling, no matter how hard your work schedule, no matter how toxic the people are, and they're going to say, well, I can't believe you did that. Well, you're accountable to yourself, and yes, this is bringing abundance. This is where abundance lives and reigns. And so it is, and then allow, because the poverty mindset is oftentimes set up by that dichotomy of, the them and then the me, and then that egoic battle. Let go. To me, abundance is letting go of that ego. And wanting to take all the credit or not wanting to take the credit. It is a B state that you can feel wealthy within, and it brings this smile. I mean, don't forget to, make a little pep in your step. Make a little, do a little whatever, when you're moving, and just get yourself a little bit percussive. A little bit of a dance. It doesn't matter if you're 70. Give yourself a little jig. Give yourself a little smile. Give yourself a little whoop whoop. Who cares? You've just motivated yourself, and it's intrinsic. That is like the eternal flame. I don't know if that's what the Olympic flame is about, but it's about that energy will be there for you, but you have to step into it. This might not make sense now. It will probably make sense later in a couple months. And then they'll say, you know what, some of this is really coming together, what Peace and Harmony was talking about. I think I get it now. Even though I was resistive, even though I put up some tension, it now makes sense to me. And I see what we're talking about. And then we're in that energetic field, in that quantum field of healing. And so look at some of those states, and then encourage and maintain. And find little things that cause you just to feel that hope. That hope is very important. That's part of the recovery gift. And the recovery gift means it is something that you do and give for yourself that validates that sort of healed and healing place within. You might not feel all the way healed. You might feel very ginger and tender about it, but go and do a little something that is significant and speaks to priming your subconscious. Even if it's writing on the refrigerator, I have an amazing life. And then you're just feeling down and out, and then you read that, and it's just like, you know what, that is right. You need to have that self-reference, and you'll find that you jog up into the right direction, and you're able to mold and shape your feelings and maintain that. And the more you do that, the more it'll be self-managed. So you have to go from conscious competence to unconscious competence. So it's going to go through a flow. Unconscious, incompetent. I didn't know I had a problem. I didn't know about this. Then I became consciously incompetent. In other words, I'm in a toxic relationship and I'm just becoming aware of it. And then you move through and then you become consciously competent, meaning I'm deliberately reinforcing and making the moves that I need to do to shape and renew my perspective. And then with that constant and consistency and maintaining and enforcing, then you become unconsciously competent, where your energy is just radiating. So you're going to go through those growth stages. So realize the learning curve might be super long, but if you're in the learning curve, you're learning, and then you're in the right spot. So even a tough day in that spot is a better spot than in the unconscious incompetent. It's your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and enjoy the breath that comes with an awareness of abundance. Keep that abundant mindset for you and renew it. Do what it, even if it means looking at cars that are expensive, you just want to touch it, you want to get in it, you want to look at those swimming pool sets or whatever it is that you've wanted, the workout equipment. Go, and even if money wasn't an issue, I would really love to. If money wasn't an issue, I would really love to. If time wasn't an issue, I would really love to. And just, what I find stimulating but have never done is, what I find fascinating but have never done is, go and write out 10 to 20 of those, and then take one of those from your action list and do it. You'll find that you can do it and it's liberating. And then go one by one. And then celebrate your victory. And keep that abundance mindset and see what you draw to you. And you'll find that you're actually creating that abundance that you're seeking from within. You can do it. You've got this creative power. Have a beautiful day.